Welcome back, guys, to yet another installment of Because You Watched. I remain your critic, Poables, and today, for our first review, we will be reviewing Final Destination 5, which is a review request from this person. So this is a bit of an on-the-go episode today because I completely forgot that it was Sunday and got a bit lost. So this hopefully will be quite quick. I did a movie marathon of all of the Final Destination films in order to get a bit of an idea, and I sure did, including the fact that the fourth out of the series of 5 was called The Final Destination. However, the opening sequences basically sucked. They copied everything that the fourth one had done, only it did it not via CGI and cool graphics, it was just kind of cheap. On top of this, the only actor that I recognized was David Koechner from Anchorman, who happens to be a comedian. And very predictably, all of the jokes were centered around him. The acting in this film is terrible. There is nothing else to say about it. Likewise, the special effects, while impressive at most points, the gore was just fake. Of course, reappearing in the series is the traditional reoccurring creepy guy who speaks like, "Death is a force which can move objects that can fall on you, causing death, which is a force." Despite me ripping into it, the film is occasionally funny. However, I don't think that was the intention. The film is quite effective, if anything, at building suspense through music. They do take a good enough perspective on an already overused concept, but the formulaic approach that this movie just follows in the footsteps of all of its older brothers is just boring. There's a pretty cool fight scene at the end, but some of it is a little unrealistic. For example, I've worked in fast food, and I know that any skin that is placed inside a deep oil fryer doesn't just kind of get reddened, it burns off. The closing sequences were probably my favorite part of this film. It sucked. I give it a 5 out of 10. For our second review today, I will be doing Saving Private Ryan, and the following subtitles detail the names of those interested in hearing my opinion on this subject. This film is a Steven Spielberg film, and so it doesn't surprise me that it takes a very emotional, somber look at war. A lot of the fighting is very realistic and very gruesome, and it really does also portray the atrocities that were committed on both sides, and you see a lot of cruelty in a lot of the fighting. There is some occasional CG used that is a little lame, and some of the extra actors are a little less than convincing. However, this is highly outnumbered by the amount of actors who portray a really raw and emotional role in this film. They really give it their all, and it's a fantastic film. The Nazis at first are a very faceless enemy, and I think this really perfectly builds up the audience's hatred for who these Americans are getting killed by. Actually, the stock that the film is shot on, it changes, which I thought was an interesting twist, but okay. This film is riddled with stars as it is bullets, so I can't even begin to tell you all of the actors that are in this. There is, however, Vin Diesel and Tom Hanks, of course. Matt Damon, who you would know from the Bourne trilogy, which is a Robert Ludlum film adaptation. And on top of that, you have Nathan Fillion, who you might know from Castle, Firefly, Serenity, and Halo ODST. It's a little strange seeing Tom Hanks as a soldier, but he plays the role quite true to a lot of his other characters, and he does a pretty good job. One thing that I really liked about this film is the way it places people. I mean, one of the soldiers is more naive and is more of the voice of civilized reason, However, by the end of the film, you hate him because of just his inaction and his cowardice during the combat scenes. All up, this film really does make you laugh, cry, and become exhilarated in all the right places. It challenges and meets all of your expectations. It's a very good film. So I'm actually going to give this film a 9.5 out of 10. And now a special message to the viewers. Unfortunately, last week's video hasn't quite made it to 650 views. So unfortunately, the privilege of seeing me on your screens twice a week now has been rescinded. Let me just take that. And why is that privilege represented by a sock? Because I said so. Goodbye.